Yeah, I mean, hello. I'm Oblivion Geek, and I rolled credits on Mewgenics today, and I need to talk about that. I don't know who that last guy was, but I guess we're talking about Mewgenics today. I truly didn't even expect to see credits yet. There's a whole nother act of the game that just opened up to me after the credits rolled. So after about 27% completion and 37 hours of the game, I still have a long way to go before 100%. I'm going to keep working at that because I've loved this game so much, and it's definitely one of the top games, one of my favorite games of all time. As I continue forward, there's going to be some minor spoilers on early game classes, bosses, maybe some builds, that kind of stuff. So just be aware of that. So what is Mewgenics? So it's a game by Edmund McMillan and Tyler Galale. Edmund created The Binding of Isaac and Super Meat Boy, so those are some of his more iconic roles. You can definitely tell by the art style and definitely all the grotesque, like fecal, weirdness in this game. For its core gameplay loop, Mewgenics is a top-down, turn-based strategy roguelike where you can bring 4 cats, and they each kind of get their own D&D based classes into combat arenas. They're all tile-based, and you fight enemies that, they're out to get you. The game also has some light elements of base building and breeding that can help you build some pretty strong units. So after a tutorial, you start at your house, you select a couple cats, and you go out on an adventure. The way you select your cats are you look at the 7 different stats they have, and I'll go over those here in a second, but each stat really helps determine which role they're going to play. You have strength, which mainly affects melee damage. Dexterity governs tile reach for ranged attacks and range damage. Constitution affects your max HP and the amount of healing you do at the end of combat. Intelligence governs your spell damage, but it also gives you mana at the end of your turn so that you can use your actual class abilities. Speed determines your turn order and how far you can move in a single movement. The last stat is Charisma, which is your starting mana and the max mana that you can hold. So if you were going to select a hunter, you probably want somebody with high dexterity and a lot of luck. That way you don't miss your shots and you can shoot pretty far. If your cat happens to get down during a battle, it's not out for good. As long as the corpse still survives, it'll come back after the battle, but you will get an injury that will decrease your stats. There are ways that you can heal those injuries, so it's not always a permanent stat loss. And those 7 stats are important even beyond like what I mentioned they do, because you'll go on these adventures, right, and you'll find some random events that sometimes you'll have to, like, it'll give you an option to eat a bush or punch the bush, destroy it. If you're high in strength, you could destroy it, or if you're high constitution, you could eat it without really worrying. The game kind of does like a dice roll to see if you pass that check, and if you do, you normally get an item or a stat boost. So if you happen to fail, it'll be a detriment in some way. You might get cursed, you might get a permanent item thrown on you that you can't take off. That's not good. Could get, a parasite, stuff like that. In one of my runs, my necromancer found some poop. He ate it, got an item that spawned poop every round, and got a permanent debuff that he walked over and ate any poop he saw. Weird, but not like the worst thing ever. While I'm editing this, I realized that I didn't talk about weather effects. Events can also spawn weather effects, which could be wind that blows you around, acid rain that damages you every battle, or stuff like ice shards that will stay on a tile, and when you walk over them, they damage you. I mentioned that the events can give you items. These items can be like weapons, clothing, stuff like that can boost your stats. It can give you different abilities that you didn't have before. Very unique things, but you can get things that change your build entirely. To touch on builds, your cat levels up as you go through combat arenas. You're going to get a selection of passive abilities, active abilities, and sometimes just stats that you can level up. And the later you get into runs, you can get upgraded versions of these abilities. Each cat can have 4 active abilities. These are the ones that you actually click during battle. They'll use up your mana. Some of them can only be cast once per battle or once per round. And you get 2 passive abilities. These are the ones that define your character. They're just always active and synergize with the rest of your build. At this point, I want to give a couple examples of how the items and builds interact with each other and just make some crazy combinations. So during one of my runs, I had a necromancer. He had an ability called Play Dead. This thing cost 0 mana. I could just use it whenever I was up, and it would act like I was dead. It would reduce my health to 0, but it wouldn't give me an injury. He also had a passive that whenever I was down, it would heal my allies 6 points, and it would attack every enemy on the screen for 6 points of damage. I had 2 items that really paired well with this. I had an Ankh that every round I had 33% chance to come back to life. Meaning that when I did, I could use Play Dead again. It would hurt everybody, it would heal my allies, and it was crazy. I also had these bolts, like Frankenstein bolts, where if I ever got electrocuted and one of my other cats could electrocute me and bring me to life. So when that happened, I got charmed. He like did an auto attack and then was downed again. And every time he got down from that, it was even more damage, more heals going out. It was just, I cleared screens so fast, sometimes in one turn. It's like a combination like that just made me feel like I was breaking the game, doing something I shouldn't do. And later on, I even got the ability to like spawn these demon kittens, and it was crazy. The board was filled. Those flies on the screen right now, those are from a completely different class doing something else. So this game gets just nuts. Another build that was like very memorable to me was there was a hunter, and he started out with an ability that he could do massive damage, but it was a 70% chance to miss. I ended up getting a different ability, and this ability allowed me to mark a target. And when I marked them, I could 100% hit them. I never missed, and it would do a crit for like the next 5 turns or something. So that huge damage that had a chance to miss now was just hitting massive crits every time. And as he leveled up, he got more and more abilities. I think one of the passes I got doubled his crit damage, so it was just insane. He was wiping the entire battlefield. Though at the end of that run, he got possessed by one of the enemies and started taking out my own cats. That was my mistake. I learned a lot from that run. As you progress, you're going to run into new zones, new biomes, and each one of these are going to have new enemy types. The enemy types vary so much, you need to hover over them. You'll see a tooltip. You'll see exactly what they're going to do, how much they can move. I made a huge mistake in the boneyard. I didn't read exactly what the corpse cats did, so they walked up to my allies when they were down, and they were just gone. They eaten. So just want to emphasize, if you're playing this game, look at what every enemy does, read it, think it over, take it slow. So as you go through these biomes, you go through all the random encounters, but you also, in the middle of it and at the end of it, you'll encounter boss fights. These boss fights are very mechanical. You need to know exactly what they do, so definitely read their tooltip. They have large health pools, and they'll go on longer than a normal fight for sure. And for me, my favorite part of the boss fights is as you're going through the zone, you hear the music, but when you get to the boss fight, especially the first one you get to, and the lyrics kick in, it's phenomenal. It's such an experience. All the music's been living rent-free in my head. I've been listening to it when I'm driving in the car. It's check it out if you haven't. The game's just stuffed with so many highly satisfying moments and a ton of randomness, and it just feels like everything in the game that's been designed has been designed to endlessly interact with each other and just provide so many possibilities. I don't think there's a single run I've been on where I didn't learn something new, something just completely unexpected. I'm 37 hours into the game, and the last run I did, I found new builds, new possibilities that I'm going to try to put to the test the next time. I talked about my necromancer earlier that was fascinated with eating poop. Well, this guy, he walks up to a boss in the sewer, takes one bite, boss is gone. Over in 2 rounds, I was sitting there shocked. I had no idea that was possible, but the game is just so magical when stuff like that happens. I've had over 20 runs at this point, and the game, every single run, has shown me how the different systems can actually interact with each other. It's not always a good thing, though. Sometimes you get really bad luck, and then your runs just get crippled before you can do anything about it. One of my friends had one of his cats get madness. Madness just makes you attack your allies or anything you see. And he got 2 runs where one of his cats get it, and at the start of the round, he's mad, and he just kills the allies. You all spawn in like a cluster near the start of the battlefield, and not really anything you can do once you get that. It can be a little disheartening when you're in a run and all your cats die, you lose all your items, all your coins, all your food. But you can choose, instead of going through all 3 biomes, you could go through 1 or 2 and then go home. There's an option after the last boss fight in the biome. And that's probably better if you're already down a couple of cats or something like that, just so you don't lose all of your items. And bringing home the cats is actually very important. So once you bring the cats back home, they've gone on an adventure, they've killed some bosses, maybe they've made it all the way through. They become a retired cat. Retired cats can't go out on adventures anymore, but they can help defend the house out of there's like some mega bosses that will come and attack the house, and you really need these retired cats who've leveled up, have all these abilities. You need them to fight that boss and defend the house. You really don't want to be sending some level 1 or 2 cats out and just expect them to fight this boss with 500 health. You gotta send in the big guns. When you're back at home, you need to manage your cat's comfort and their stimulation. You don't want the cats bored because they're gonna fight at night. You want them happy so that they breed. When you breed the cats, they pass down traits, they pass down stats, they pass down abilities. So you could get a cat that has really good stats, and let's say a tank has passed down one of its tank abilities, and then you can make him a fighter. So you can, there's like so many multi-class things you can do with just that. So as your cats breed, you're just going to get an abundance of cats. No one's going to be comfortable. It's going to be bad for everyone. You're also going to pick up some strays that have bad stats, so you want to donate these to your townsfolk. Each ones have different kind of cats they want you to donate them. Like some only want retired cats, some want kittens, that kind of thing. But once you hit certain thresholds, you'll get things like new rooms, side quests, and they'll upgrade their shops, that kind of thing. At the shops around your town, you can buy combat items, you can buy furniture, you can buy food so that your cats have food through the night, they're not hungry. So the side quests that you get from the scientists, they're going to be things like take whatever item he gives you, his new invention, all the way to the end of the caves. You're going to have negative effects from it, but once you get it all the way there successfully, you're going to be able to get some special item in the rest of your runs going forward. It's part of the meta progression of the game. You get a great deal of unlocks just through taking different classes through the different routes the game has for you, going through the different biomes and beating the bosses, because you'll unlock class abilities, you'll unlock passives. And because I have a lot of unlocks on the classes that I'm like very comfortable with, the ones that are safe to me, that I know I'll finish the run, it makes me feel like I need to bring some other classes that I don't normally use just to get their unlocks. And that's opened like a whole world of different possibilities. It really lets me see the different builds you can do per class. It's just like so limitless. Like that's the phrase I would use for this game. It's endless. It's crazy. It's just while you're on these runs, you're gonna find new abilities, new items that you haven't used before with that class, and your different classes that you bring, they're all gonna synergize, and you know, at least hopefully they do. And you're gonna come out with really strong cats and new unlocks, more percentage. And I think as of right now, I have about 9 different classes unlocked. And just the fact that I've brought like the tank and the cleric on almost every single run I go on, and I still am finding new builds for them. It just, the 9 isn't even the max number of classes. Like this game is crazy with the builds you can do. And I've only like barely scratched the surface on different like mutations that can give your classes like buffs. Like if you're a melee class and you have a mutation of claws, you'll cause bleed, stuff like that. Like these cats that you can breed and pass down traits, they can multi-class and just go crazy with synergies. Just to touch on the voice acting, you need to look up a list of all the people that gave meows. You probably know a ton of them. Some of them are insane, some are crazy. I can't believe he got all the people he did. There's just a couple gripes I have about the game, nothing big at all. It's just managing the cats when you're back at the home is very annoying when you have a ton of cats, because you have to click and drag them away. When I'm trying to find cats to bring on an adventure, I misclick the wrong cat or click the same one multiple times. And it's hard to find ones to filter out. Maybe having like a menu system where you could see all the different stats or mutations would go a long way. And when I'm in a battle, sometimes I'll move my mouse a little funny and then misclick. I'll punch one of my guys, taking them out. I definitely don't want an undo button. That's definitely just user error, but it does annoy me a little bit. I don't think there's really a solution to that. Maybe a better selection, like if you want to be more careful with your like selections. But I just have been going slower in my turns. Also, I don't know why I get a lot of bad luck in this game. They need to give me good luck. So Edmund, if you're watching this and you want to program my game specifically to give me all the good luck, that'd be awesome. So thank you. Also, if you are watching and you need a meow voice actor, let me know. I'll bring my cats in. So I think in conclusion, after about 37 hours so far with the game, about 27% completion hit, I think Mewgenics is just a beautiful cohesion of randomness, satisfying moments, and just so well designed. And I can't call it anything else but a masterpiece at this point. And if somehow you've seen this game, you've watched this review, but you haven't played the game yet, you need to fix that. Go play it, go listen to the music, come up with some crazy mayhem builds, and just have fun. Again, I'm Oblivion Geek. I have a ton more Mewgenics I need to go get through probably like 300 more hours. If you liked it, like and subscribe. Watch my full playlist below, and if you ever wanted to catch me on Twitch, I'll link it in the description for you. And thanks for watching. See ya.